the actor who was originally attached to the film, didn't hold back. She took to social media to blast Sydney Sweeney, the star who When a movie opens to just $1.3 million at the box office, most people expect critics to blame marketing, timing, or bad reviews. But what if the real drama wasn't on the screen at all? That's exactly what's happening with Christy, the biopic about groundbreaking boxer Christy Martin. On paper, it was supposed to be inspiring, powerful, and unforgettable. In reality, it became the scene of a very public Hollywood clash. Ruby Rose, the actor who was originally attached to the film, didn't hold back. She took to social media to blast Sydney Sweeney, the star who ultimately stepped into the role, claiming she ruined the film and calling her a cretin. Suddenly, a movie about a legendary fighter was overshadowed by a fight of a different kind. One happening off-camera, in Threads posts, Instagram stories, and fan comment sections everywhere. But here's the thing, this feud is about more than just who plays what. It's about authenticity, representation, and the way Hollywood chooses to tell certain stories. And it's not just Ruby Rose and Sydney Sweeney, though, are in the ring. Fans, critics, and even politics have stepped into the conversation, turning what should have been a quiet film debut into a full-blown cultural debate. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Christy flopped, why Ruby Rose went nuclear online, and how one casting decision became the lightning rod for Hollywood drama. And trust me, the story only gets more intense from here. Before all the controversy, Christy was supposed to be a triumph. The film tells the story of Christy Martin, a fighter who didn't just win in the ring. She broke barriers for women in boxing and became a symbol of strength for an entire generation. Her Hall of Fame career wasn't just about titles. It was about proving that women could dominate a sport long dominated by men. And her story had all the elements of a Hollywood hit: struggle, triumph, and resilience. Early buzz for the movie was strong. Critics and insiders were praising the original script, describing it as powerful and life-changing. It wasn't just a sports biopic. It was a story about identity, love, and survival. Christy Martin's journey as a closeted lesbian navigating the pressures of fame, an abusive marriage, and a demanding career promised depth, drama, and relatability. Casting rumors initially added to the excitement. Fans were curious, divided, and sometimes skeptical, especially when a rising star like Sydney Sweeney, known for Euphoria and other edgy roles, was confirmed to play Christy. On paper, it seemed like a bold choice. Could someone so young and so associated with teen drama channels truly embody a fighter with decades of experience inside and outside the ring? The promise of Christy wasn't just in the punches thrown or the titles won. It was in the untold layers of her life. Audiences were expecting a raw emotional journey that could leave a lasting impact. But as the lights dimmed for the opening weekend, it became clear that this highly anticipated story would face challenges that went far beyond the script itself. And those challenges weren't only in the critics' reviews. Behind the scenes, a battle was brewing, one that would soon explode online and turn the movie into a lightning rod for controversy. The drama started long before the film hit theaters. Ruby Rose had originally been attached to play Cherry, a pivotal character in Christy Martin's story. By all accounts, Rose connected deeply with the material, describing the original script as incredible and life-changing. She wasn't just auditioning for another role. She was investing in a story that reflected her own experiences and identity. Then Sydney Sweeney entered the picture. Known for her breakout role in Euphoria, Sweeney was young, charismatic, and undeniably talented. But her casting immediately divided fans. Could someone so closely associated with teen drama and viral fashion campaigns carry the weight of Christy Martin's real-life struggles? Rumors and speculations swirled online, and some supporters of Rose felt the project had lost its authenticity. This wasn't just a simple casting change. For many, it symbolized a larger Hollywood issue: the tension between representation, star power, and commercial viability. And little did anyone know, this casting decision would become the flashpoint for a feud that exploded publicly once the movie flopped. The film finally premiered and the numbers were jaw-dropping, but not in a good way. Christy opened to just $1.3 million domestically. For a highly anticipated biopic about a sports icon, that was shockingly low. Critics were split. Some praised the fight sequences and Sweeney's commitment, while others criticized the pacing and storytelling choices. But it wasn't just the critics who made headlines. Fans quickly took to social media, dissecting every scene, performance, and casting decision. The conversation quickly shifted from the movie itself to a broader debate about authenticity and representation. The disappointment wasn't just commercial, it felt personal for some viewers who had hoped the film would honor Christy Martin's legacy in a way that felt real. And just when the dust was settling on this opening weekend shocker, Ruby Rose stepped into the ring. Ruby didn't hold back. On Threads, she went nuclear. "You're a cretin and you ruined the film," she wrote directly at Sydney Sweeney. She lamented that Christy deserved better and called out Hollywood for putting someone in the role who, according to her, didn't embody the experience or the community behind the story. Rose went further, pointing out that the original cast and crew included many LGBTQIA+ actors, emphasizing how personal representation matters. None of the people want to see someone who hates them parading around pretending to be us. She added, her frustration was clear. This wasn't just about a role, it was about a story she believed should be told authentically. The post quickly went viral, splitting fans and igniting online debates about casting, identity, and who gets to tell certain stories. And it wasn't just an attack on Sweeney, it was a reflection of the broader tensions in Hollywood regarding representation and authenticity. Sweeney's reaction, in contrast, was calm but firm. On Instagram, she shared her pride in the project, posting a gallery of images including one of her bloodied but smiling in the ring. "We don't always just make art for numbers, we make it for impact," she wrote. "Christy has been the most impactful project of my life. Thank you, Christy. I love you." Notice the nuance. Sweeney didn't directly address Ruby's attack. Instead, she focused on the work itself, highlighting the emotional and personal investment she had in portraying Martin. Some fans saw this as gracious, others read it as tone-deaf given the public backlash. Either way, the contrast between the Threads post and the Instagram caption made the feud impossible to ignore. The online conversation exploded. On X, TikTok, and Reddit, fans debated everything: the casting, Sweeney's performance, Ruby Rose's critique, and even Christy Martin's portrayal. Some defended Sweeney, praising her for stepping into a challenging role with sincerity. Others rallied behind Rose, arguing that representation and authenticity were non-negotiable, especially for queer narratives. The debate quickly expanded beyond the film itself. People dissected Sweeney's past controversies, including the Good Genes American Eagle campaign, her rumored political affiliations, and even her voting registration in Florida before the 2024 election. Suddenly, a film about boxing was entangled with cultural debates, fan wars, and political speculation. Sweeney's image has shifted in recent years. Once celebrated as a bold, edgy, rising star, she became a lightning rod for political debate. Reports of conservative support, including mentions by Trump and J.D. Vance, intensified the backlash. For many fans, this context changed the perception of her role in Christy. It wasn't just about acting anymore. It was about what Sweeney symbolized off-screen. The conversation became less about punches in the ring and more about identity, ideology, and how Hollywood handles stories about marginalized communities. Every post, every comment, every thread was scrutinized, amplifying the drama far beyond the box office numbers. To understand the depth of Rose's anger, context is key. She built her career on bold choices, visibility, and activism. Roles like Batwoman weren't just acting jobs. They were statements about representation and visibility. Losing a role she felt connected to, especially one centered on queer identity, was more than a professional setback. Her Threads post wasn't just venting, it was a defense of representation and authenticity in Hollywood. For Rose, it was personal, and while some saw it as unprofessional, others saw it as a necessary wake-up call to an industry that often sidelines voices like hers. At the end of the day, Christy wasn't just a movie about boxing. It became a story about identity, authenticity, and the power struggles behind the camera. Ruby Rose and Sydney Sweeney's public feud shows how deeply personal storytelling in Hollywood can get, especially when representation is on the line. So, what's the takeaway? One movie opened the door to a wider conversation about who gets to tell certain stories, how audiences respond, and what really matters in the world of celebrity, culture, and politics. Was Ruby Rose justified? Did Sweeney do her best with the role she was given? The answer isn't simple, but one thing is clear. This Hollywood fight was far from fictional, and it's only going to be remembered as much for the drama outside the ring as for the punches thrown inside it. And if you think this is the end of the story, just wait. Hollywood never stops throwing curveballs, and sometimes the real knockout comes long after the credits roll.